So pleased to have on Costodio Gomes. What a name, Custodio.
Yes.
But you're known as Odie?
As Odie.
Okay, so let's establish you're from Cape Verde or Cape Verde, West Africa.
Yes.
What brought you to Connecticut?
Education. My parents brought us here because of the lack of education in my country, and they worked hard and went back, and now we're here working hard as well.
You're a poet, an author. You started your own publishing house, if you will.
Almost there, almost there.
Almost there.
Yeah.
You're in the throes of it.
Yes.
Why poetry?
I think the attention span is very, very small for people. So if you can catch them in a few lines, then I think they would really connect with you and what you write and what you want to say.
When you came to this country, did you start writing poetry in high school?
No, I actually started just about the freshman year in college. I had a lot of friends who would always write, and once I started writing it, it just flowed, it just flowed through me. So I just continued on with it and began performing all around.
Tell me about the performing. Where do you, coffee houses, where do you go?
We did everything. I went to Southern Connecticut State University, and we had a group, and we would do colleges, coffee houses, poetry slams, wherever we can get.
Describe
people.
a poetry slam to me.
Poetry slam is when you have a few people going up against each other. You have groups and you have individuals, and they just recite what they have, and the crowd usually would clap the hardest, and whoever gets the hardest claps.
Have you won some?
I won a few.
All right. What types of things do you write about?
Life, love, what's going on in the world. I think we have so much going on that we need to learn more about love.
You say you write to inspire others, to inspire young men. Tell me about that.
I think a lot of young men and young ladies in our generation lack a little inspiration. So I try to give them kind of a little experience of what I've been through, so they can somehow understand that they have a gift and the world needs to hear it.
And what have you been through? Let's get to that.
Growing up in a developing country, it's very hard. It's very, very hard. So having friends with no clothes and things like that, it humbles you. And when you come here to the States, you learn to appreciate everything. And when I came here, I was in Brooklyn, New York. It was very hard over there as well. And then Bridgeport, Connecticut. The inner city is a hard life. So I wanted them to understand that that doesn't mean you have to stay there wherever you are. You have inspiration to make yourself get out of any situation.
Your folks brought you here when you were how old?
I was about 9 years old.
9 years old. What do you remember from West Africa when you were a kid, prior to 9?
I remember going to school. I remember how hard it was, how it was so challenging because they expect so much of you. I remember the beautiful water in our country. I remember the beautiful air. The people were so nice and welcoming. I'll never forget that.
How hard was it then to come? You first came to Brooklyn, New York.
Yes.
How many? A sister and yourself and your folks?
I came with my sister and my older sister and my older brother.
How hard was that?
It was hard because trying to get acclimated to a new life, a new continent, was very hard, and you have to learn the language, which took a while, but we adapted.
Did you speak any English when you came?
I spoke zero English.
Tell me about that.
Well, in my country, we speak Creole. That's our native tongue. But in school, we speak Portuguese. And when you come here, you pick up Spanish, and then English is usually the last one, which is probably the hardest one to learn.
What is it like for a kid to be in a school in America and you don't speak the language? How tough is that?
It's very hard. It's very hard because it's a culture shock. You're trying to fit in, you're trying to have friends, but it's hard to communicate. So you try to pick up friends by, just hanging out with them and picking up on the language, and eventually you pick it up, but it's in you.
Were you made fun of? Were you bullied because you didn't speak the language?
Not really bullied, probably made fun of, but I couldn't understand what they were saying, so I don't know if it was really making fun of me, but eventually I made a lot of good friends.
So you grab the language, you go to high school in Connecticut, you go to college in Connecticut.
Yes.
Let's get back to the inspiration
Yes.
and why you're writing Life, Love of War.
Yeah.
Tell me, what does that mean? What does that book mean?
It's in 3 parts. The life part is about everything we go through. There's a lot of things that I've gone through, a lot of friends, a lot of colleagues. So it encompasses childhood to adulthood. And then the love is, people falling in love, getting heartbroken, and wanting to be more of a people person. And then the war, I tend to slide off a little bit on the wars that's going on in the world, and then the wars that we fight within ourselves as well. So I try to encompass 3 parts of it that I think this world needs to, get a little inspiration.
What do you want your reader to gain from this book?
I want them to feel that they can do anything in this world. I want them to know that they have a gift, they have a talent, and don't let anyone stop you from it. And coming from where I came from, if I can do it, anybody can do it.
I really want to know where you came from. There were hardships.
Yeah.
For somebody who's never been there, paint a picture for us.
All right, well, the poverty of back then it was called the third world, but now they refer to it as the developing world. You have people with no clothes. You have poverty to the highest level. You have lack of education. The economy is very bad, but eventually, the country picked themselves up and now they're doing well. But back then, it was very hard. It was very hard to see your friends struggling and you struggling as well and wanting a better life. So I'm very grateful for my parents for, bringing us here and giving us a different chance in the world, a different chance in our lives. And we can go back and, help others. So you have to help others, because if you get a little help, you have to help others.
Was that instilled in you as children by your parents?
Absolutely, absolutely. We would always, help people, even when we came here. And, we were also in poverty a little bit, not that much, but we would always help the people in our communities, people in the neighborhoods. So it stayed with me. It showed me how hardworking my parents were, that I would have to become the same way. Not only to make them proud, but also to be a good human being. You want to help everybody else because you've been helped yourself.
How is it that you want to inspire young men?
I want to make them feel as if, even though they may be in the inner city, make them feel as if that they can do anything in this world. Things may be stacked up against them, but if I made it out, I have a lot of friends who made it out, all professionals, they can make it out. As long as you're focused and you have a goal and you don't allow your friends or whomever wants to make you feel like you can't get out, if you can go above that and beyond that, you can definitely do anything in this world.
Give us an example of your poetry. And you just, when you and I were talking about writing, and you said you have to isolate yourself and you just write, but it just comes easily for you, poetry?
It just flows through me. Like I said before, I think it's a God-given gift. I have to sometimes stop everything that's going on, cell phones off and everybody around me, and just isolate myself and just write. And it comes all the time, anytime, no matter where I am, I can write without any kind of thinking. It just flows through me.
You just wrote something.
Yes.
I want you to read that to us. And you wrote it in 4 seconds.
Yes. It says, "We're all destined for greatness. Don't be afraid to show the world your light. Your story can inspire anybody in this world. As long as you stay focused, you can be a light to everyone."
You want the reader to know what about that?
You are everything that you think you are. Don't ever doubt yourself.
What's the next book going to be?
The next book is called The Human Experience. It is true stories, 10 people, including 9 others, and it's about struggles in life. And this one is, to me personally, it's more inspiring than this one right here, because I'm becoming 10 other people and trying to speak their stories to the world. I'm trying to give the world a sight into what they've gone through and inspire. It's always about inspiring.
Will it be poetry or more storytelling?
No, it's no poetry this time. It's storytelling.
Give me an example of somebody you're writing about.
I'm writing about one of them is a good friend of mine, who is Daniel Trust. He was a genocide survivor. I have another friend who was molested. I'm writing her story. I have somebody else who's a single parent with 2 kids, and kids are doing phenomenal. One's in college and another one is coming out of middle school. Also, I'm writing about a male getting custody in court, which is hard to hear about. So it encompasses a lot of things that, can inspire someone to feel that, you might have gone through something. It may be hard, but you can work right through it.
So you're getting right down into the nitty-gritty.
Right to the nitty-gritty.
And just real stuff, real life.
Real life stuff.
Is it hard to write that?
It was somewhat hard because I had to put myself in the mindset of them. I'm writing it as if I'm the one going through it. So I had to become those people. I had to interview them. I had to listen to their voices. And then I said to myself, I have to do justice, for what they've done for me. So I had to do what I told them I was going to do for them, which is tell their story and inspire everybody that reads the book.
So you mentioned you're working on this publishing house. Why do you need to do this?
I think there's so many writers out there. They don't know how to get published or publish their own work, and it would help them in getting their own work out there. I mean, I know a lot of people who write, not only poetry, autobiographies and fiction, nonfiction, whatever they write about, but I'm out there trying to help others get their dreams out into the world.
Well, you're doing a good job of it. Custodio Gomes, thank you so much for coming on, and good luck with the book and the books to come.
Thank you very much.
When one listen, who's this girl? Spend all night kissing, and the was right here, then who else is missing? Got a little sidetracked if I'm so wishing.